Kia ora te whānau, no mai haere mai. Welcome to our webinar or our Facebook Live today. So hopefully you can hear us okay. So if you are watching, please do give us a thumbs up so that we know that you're listening. If you've got any questions, then please do ask away. Just turn off this. Yeah, so please do give us a like so that we know that you're there and that you can hear us. Ask away with any questions and we'll do our best to answer them as well. But really happy to be able to bring this Facebook Live to you. Hopefully there's lots of small businesses that are going to get some value from our session today. So for anyone who doesn't know who we are, my name is Wyndi. I'm one of the co-founders of We Accounting.
Talofa, and I'm Eli. I'm one of the other co-founders.
So we have a chartered accounting firm in Auckland in New Zealand. We also have we have a business advisory firm in Samoa. So we're across both New Zealand and across the Pacific. And we'll talk a little bit more about some of that later too. But today we wanted to talk about cash flow because we know that this is really an issue that a lot of our small businesses are probably struggling with at the moment. If not struggling just at the moment, potentially are going to start to struggle with because, we know times are being tough and it's great that there's light at the end of the tunnel and we're going to hopefully be able to lock down shortly. And if you heard at 1 o'clock today, the government was talking a bit about what level 3 might look like. So some of our businesses are going to be able to start trading again, which is going to be fantastic. But we still think that there's going to be, it's going to be a bit slow. It's not going to be so fast coming out the other side. So still going to be potentially a bit of pain for our business owners to come.
Cool.
So I think first of all, it would be quite good for us to talk a little bit about the importance of cash flow, why it is so important, why you should be really paying some attention to it at the moment if you aren't already.
Cool. We're going to start.
Yes, we're going to start talking about cash flow.
Cash flow, obviously, it is the lifeblood of any business. So, we're over the years, during my career, I've talked to a lot of businesses around the difference between cash flow and profit. So, I guess the simplest way I can put it is that profit is money that you've earned but haven't yet received. And so with cash flow, it is actual cash that you have in your bank or you've spent on goods. So in your financial accounts, you might have $100,000 worth of sales, but $50,000 of those sales might be debtors, so money that's still owed to you. Whereas cash only recognizes the actual cash that you actually receive from your clients. So that's the biggest difference. And so when people say to us at the end of the year, a lot of times they say, hey, look, I had a great profit. I got no cash in my bank. So, and some of the things that we're looking at pivoting this year is just really getting our business to understand what the difference is between that cash and the profit. Because there's a saying that goes, it is paper profit. And that's basically what it is. It is profit on the paper. Until you actually receive it from the sales, it's not cash. So hopefully that helps to explain a little bit about the difference between your paper profit and your actual cash flow that you actually have in the business. And so today's session is just talking about cash flow, finding, I guess, ways that you can actually get current cash from your current debtors or clients, and ways that we can help you, tips around saving as much cash as you can, especially during this period.
Yeah, what we find a lot of business owners do, and usually it's because of the tax implications, is we pay a lot of attention to what our profits are in the business. So, I've made a profit at the end of the year, or I don't really want to make a profit because I don't want to pay tax, all those sorts of things. people often focus on profit, and I think one of the things that COVID-19 is probably going to teach a lot of business owners is the importance of focusing on cash flow and generating cash fast. And so we're going to talk a little bit about the cash flow cycle, just so that you get a little bit of an idea on what we're talking about and how it works in your business. But yeah, it's really important about generating cash flow and knowing how much money you've got, because then that's the money that you can either pay yourself as a business owner, or pay down some debt, or potentially reinvest back into your business and buy more assets so that you can generate more cash for your business. So we will talk a little bit about that shortly, too. So in saying that, so this is a little bit about what we were just talking about your cash cycle. And a lot of people, I think, probably have a little bit of an understanding of this, but not a huge understanding. So we thought that we would share this with you today. So you'll see the top left-hand corner, it says owners. So this is, you'd put money into your business. So usually you put money into your business to buy assets. So your assets can be your tools, it might be machinery. Assets can also be stock in there. Your staff, if your staff are like service-based and they're generating cash for you, then they're assets as well. So you basically, you could be borrowing money or investing money that you've already made from the business back into purchasing your assets. Now those assets are what generate profit for you. So how you increase your profit is to improve your revenue or your sales. And we know that at the moment it's quite difficult to do that because a lot of our businesses have been shut down. But what you can be looking at the moment is looking at your margins. So this is probably a really good time to have a look at each of your different products that you're selling or the different services that you sell, and working out how much they cost to make. So what your cost of goods are, and your cost of sales, and then finding ways to be able to reduce that. And maybe it's also looking at your product lines or your service lines that aren't generating you any cash or enough margins. And maybe this is the time to have a look at whether they're worth keeping. Maybe you want to have a look at getting rid of those particular product lines. Yeah,
it's really important, especially during this period where a lot of us are not able to do our normal course of work, is to actually look at those product lines or service lines and see what actually is profitable. You'll be really surprised. We've worked with a few clients that might have a service line or product line that's it's like generating so much income. But when we've actually delved deeper into it, we're seeing like the margin is really small. So really getting succinct with your margins, the profitability of your product lines and services is real key now. So that way it helps you to increase revenue without having to increase too much costs.
And so another thing around this is, maybe you can look at ways to be more efficient, or maybe you can find ways to reduce the cost of your goods. So, we'll talk a little bit about this later too, but you might want to have a look at, can you negotiate with suppliers? Can you bring in some infrastructure or process or apps or something like that might be able to make things a little bit more efficient? So you might be able to reduce your human touch and put that human touch into other areas of your business that might generate you a better return on your investment. So this is really a good time to have a look at all of those types of things. So once you've generated your profit, so you've got your asset, you've made a profit, that then turns into cash. And profitable businesses can and do go broke at times like these. So you need to be looking at how you can maximize your cash flow using strategies to get paid quicker. And, there's lots of different ways that you can do that depending upon your different models. So terms of trade, we've been speaking to a lot of business owners recently who don't even have a terms of trade or don't really know what that means. A lot of business owners think that they have to stick with the 20th of the month.
Or the month following.
Yeah, so oh, I'm going to get paid on the 20th of the month, and we're not talking about the 20th of this month. Yeah, like Ali was saying, we're talking about the 20th of next month. So, you've almost 2 months worth of waiting time to get paid for a piece of work or a product that you might have already sold. So, having a look at how you can reduce those terms of trades, your terms of trade, getting in your cash quicker.
Yeah. So that's where that profit difference with cash comes in. You've done the work, but now you're waiting for that money to come in for that work. And for some businesses, it's really crucial. If they've got a 2-month wait time, then they've done the job, but yet no income has come from their job. So it's really, pivotal. Really
pivotal.
It's really pivotal that you actually go and try to find ways you can collect your cash in quicker. You don't stick to the norms. A lot of businesses do it. We've got negotiate directly with who you're doing your contracts with and see if they can do it better, because they know that if you're surviving, then they're going to get a good work out of you.
And oh my gosh, I was too busy thinking what we said and I forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, so that all goes back into your business. So it comes back to you as an owner, and then you decide what you're going to do with that money. So again, like we were sort of saying before, it might pay down some debt. You might pay yourself out some drawings, or that might get reinvested back into your business to buy more assets, so that you can therefore make more money, and then the cycle goes around. So that's why it's called the Business 101 cycle. It just tells you how cash gets generated.
Yeah, and then that was actually a really good way of explaining it, and hence the reason why we've got Wyndi explaining it, not keeping it too technical.
If Ali explained it, you'd be all like switched off by now, wondering what the hell he's talking about.
Done really well then.
Thanks. So we want to touch on, we've sort of talked a little bit about some of the areas that you might be able to negotiate or look at ways of reducing your costs and increasing your margins. We're going to talk a little bit more about those two. So we'll talk a little bit first about your suppliers and some of the things that you might want to be doing around that.
Yeah, I think this will be one of the key parts, that if you're purchasing goods from your suppliers, go back and negotiate the terms. They'll be wanting you to be in business, so they'll be more pliable into negotiating and with you around those terms. See if you can get payments stretched out, so that you're not having to fork up the cash. If there's some credit terms where you can extend it to 3 months, then do that. At the end of the day, they'll still want you to be a client as well. So it's in their best interest for you to stay in business, because if you don't have the money to pay, then you'll go broke, and they won't get, and then it just becomes a cycle where they won't be able to get paid for it as well. So, one of the first things you should do is talk to your suppliers, whether it's your landlords out there. If you're purchasing, feathers or something for your products, talk to your suppliers, and they're usually quite good, especially around the COVID situation at the moment, to negotiate with you. So, that's just as a tip. And a lot of us are a bit scared to go and talk to our suppliers and ask them for that. But I think if you just be upfront with them with what's happening, a lot of them they will understand, and they'll probably hopefully negotiate with fairer terms for you.
And I think one of the things that we need to remember at this time when we're talking about cash flow is we need to keep cash flowing. So we need our small businesses to still be paying, especially if you have money owing to other small businesses, to keep that money flowing around, because as soon as we stop spending, that's when we start to go into economic problems. So it is important, if you can negotiate and pay something, that's better than paying nothing, and having a look at those different types of terms.
Yeah, and also around contracts. So you might be on a leasing contract. There's been a lot of news out at the moment around commercial premises. Like we've had to negotiate with our landlord around our lease, and they're usually quite good if you're just upfront with them, because they know that if you're still in business, they'll still have a tenant. So negotiate. There are a lot of law firms out there at the moment that can help you with your lease agreement and give you some free advice at the moment. So definitely that's a big cost, and a lot of businesses that have commercial premises is their lease. So that's definitely one. If you haven't done it already, seek some professional advice around it. There's a few law firms out on Facebook at the moment that are helping to go through these contracts with you as well. So if you can get maybe a holiday or negotiate like maybe a discounted lease term for the next 3 months or so, then that definitely helps to keep cash inside the business, help you to keep afloat during this period.
Yeah, totally. So there's been a bit of news recently around what the banks can offer at this time, and so you will have heard about the interest-free periods and the loan holidays and those sorts of things. So you can definitely have a chat to your bank about those types of things. The only thing that I'd suggest is just make sure you do your homework around these. Yeah. So yes, definitely, if you think that you're going to need it and if it's going to keep you in business, then you potentially won't have too many options. But a loan holiday does mean that money just gets tacked back onto your loan. So it's not like, yay, I don't have to pay that money back. You do have to pay that money back. It'll just be so your loan term will probably extend a little bit longer and those sorts of things. So just make sure that you're fully aware of what you're getting yourself into around those types of things.
Yeah, and it's really good before you actually go through that process of going to see your bank for assistance is do a budget. See if you actually need that money, or do you need as much as you're thinking of. Do that budget so that when you actually go, you know exactly the amount that you're going to need. You don't need any more. It just saves you in the long run when you do have to pay it back as well. So, there's different products you can go through, where you can, if you've got a mortgage holiday, or you can go for a short-term loan, business overdraft. That's a good way to get some quick cash for your business, but just think about the repercussions of the amount that you're getting, and it's going to be tacked on, as Wyndi was saying, at the end of your loan as well. So yeah, just make a plan and get the exact amount that you want, that you need to loan out, and don't go, just because you can. It doesn't necessarily mean you should get it.
Mm-hmm. One of the things around the business lending and those types of things is, particularly if you're going to go for the finance guarantee scheme or even to borrow money, they are going to want to know how your business is doing. And if you have had problems already in your business pre-COVID-19, then you may find it's still difficult for you to borrow money now that we're in COVID-19. So just know that they still have terms and conditions that they need to go through. One of our clients that I was speaking to yesterday, he just approached the bank to try and get a small loan for his business, and we'd already done a cash flow forecast with him and a business continuity plan, and his business banker said to him, hey, look, this is really awesome, you're really on top of things are a whole lot clearer. So if you go with a bit of a plan and you show that you understand what's happening in your business, particularly around the finances, you've thought about the risks that are currently here, but also the risks that are potentially coming, and you've explained ways that you're going to mitigate those, then it helps to make your application with the bank a whole lot stronger. With the just to talk a little bit more about the finance guarantee scheme. So it is up to $500,000. That doesn't mean that if your business turns over $100,000 that they're going to give you $500,000. It doesn't really work like that. But you have to pay it off within 3 years' time.
Yeah, so it is a short term.
Yeah, and that might be refinanced. So if you do have a loan a home loan and you've got equity in your home loan, then maybe in 3 years' time you might be able to refinance it back with your house's security. There might, there's not really a whole lot of information around about this, but there could be other options. So there are a few different things that they will be taking into consideration around this type of lending. So remembering that, sometimes we get a bit grumpy with the banks because we think that they're not helping. Sometimes, though, if a business is really struggling already, they've got to be a little bit careful that they're not putting you in an even worse situation, so that, if things do go south, that, you've got all of this debt that you can't repay. So just do have a chat to your accountant. If it's not us, whoever they are, get a really good understanding of what your cash flow looks like. If you don't already have a cash flow forecast and a budget for your business and for you personally, then definitely get one done. And we've got some templates, and we've done a webinar on this already around, showing you how to do that. We'll probably end up doing some more of those or putting those out. So it's definitely something that your accountant can help you out with if you don't know how to do. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people, especially businesses, as soon as the shit hits the fan, insurances are the first things that go. So, I'm a big advocate for insurance. You don't need it. You don't always. You wonder where you're paying your money to, but it is really important to have it. So, this is another thing you can talk to your insurance suppliers, and maybe just talk to how you can keep your premiums down a bit. Negotiate with them. They're always good for it, but don't cancel it. You never know when you're going to need it. Just as you cancel it, something might happen to your business. So, we're advocates for having that insurance. A lot of people, there are people out there that don't, they don't believe in insurance, but we think it's really important that, especially if you're in business, that you do have your insurance covers there. Don't make it the first thing you're going to cancel straight away. If you're finding hard to pay, then negotiate directly with your insurance suppliers or with a broker that can help you with that. So from our side, we definitely are keen on ensuring that we're making our insurance payments. So we're insured to the hilt. So, we recognize that how important it is for your business and for yourself personally as well.
Well, obviously, if you know us, you know that I've had health issues over the last few years too. So we've had to claim on insurance as well. So that's one of the reasons that we know that it is so important. You just don't know when something might happen, and you can think that you're pretty healthy and still, something comes up. So it is really important. But like Ali was saying, have a chat to your broker, your bank, and just make sure that you've got the right amount of cover. And also see if you are able to claim against your insurance during this time. So you might be able to do that too. Yeah.
And I guess the other big thing is that the government support. If you haven't done it already, talk to your accountant about getting that wage subsidy if you've got staff, or even if you're a contractor yourself. Apply for that wage subsidy. It's there for a reason. It's there to support you during this period. The government are releasing a whole lot of other initiatives, which are probably more technical in manner. So talk to your accountant about those. But I think the biggest one is that wage subsidy. If you haven't applied for it, definitely go.
So I'll just add the little waiver onto that. So you do have to have been affected by COVID-19, and you do have to show that your income has dropped by 30% between January and June. So if you're not really sure how to do that, you can do that in Xero. If you're with Xero, that's one of the great things about cloud accounting. As long as your bank feeds are going through, then it shows you up-to-date data, and it's a whole lot easier to go in and have a look. If you don't know how to do that and you are on Xero, or even if you're not, have a chat to your accountant about whether they think that you should be applying for the wage subsidy. Most of our business owners that we've spoken to have applied for the wage subsidy. And just do remember that it comes with a whole lot of HR implications as well. So you can't just go and get the wage subsidy and then make all of your staff redundant. This is a little bit of a side note, which is HR, which isn't really our thing, but you know, you can't also go and reduce all your staff to 80% without getting something signed from them and having an agreement. So you just have to be a bit wary about that, and definitely have a talk to an HR lawyer if you're having a look at what you need to do around restructuring. And you know, you probably would have seen also about the company that went under just recently, the magazine company. You know, and people were sort of saying, oh, you know, why don't they get the wage subsidy and all those sorts of things. I mean, I don't really know about that particular case, but if a business is going to go under anyway, then it's probably best not to get the wage subsidy and to just close the business, potentially. I'm not saying that's all the case for everybody, but you know, that might be why some businesses might not apply for the wage subsidy, other than the fact that maybe they're a thriving business at the moment and they're essential.
Or if you're a supermarket, yeah.
And they're not going to lose business. So there's lots of different reasons why you might not apply for the wage subsidy, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, if you do think that you're dropped, then have a chat to your accountant and see, have a look at your zero accounts, work through your cash flow forecast, see what it looks like now and for the future and what it has looked like in the past, and then make some decisions. Right?
Yeah, so definitely, yeah, like when he said, talk to your accountant if you're not sure. Yeah, we've had a lot of our clients get in touch with us, and we've actually gone through it with them before they've actually gone and applied for it. So yeah, definitely see your accountant. Now, if it's not us, then yeah, go see your own accountant around it.
We've got a bit of information too on our website, so weaccounting.co.nz. If you go to the homepage, just there's a link in the heading banner. It says something about need help with COVID-19 or something like that. If you click on that, that will take you through to a page which has got a few different links to the government subsidy. We've got a video on there on how to apply, whether you're an employer or a self-employed. Yeah, so you can go in and have a look at that as well if you do have any questions, and then just reach out to us if you want to know whether that's going to be suitable for you. So we've talked a little bit about how you might be able to save cash, and there's definitely ways that you can increase your revenue too. So what's been quite interesting is that the businesses that we've been coaching, well, over the last year, but particularly been working quite closely with over the last few weeks, have been looking at their business models and how they might be able to pivot in this climate, and what their business might look like at level 3 and level 2, and then going back to normal. And one of the things that we've found is that if you're an essential service, you know, you're probably not going to be as affected. So how do you become essential is probably one thing. And then also something else that's coming out is how can you be online? So a lot of our face-to-face businesses are the ones that are struggling at the moment, because obviously they can't get face-to-face, or if you know you've got a high contact model with your clients, then it makes it a little bit more difficult. So over this time, a lot of our clients have been setting up e-commerce sites, which has been great, having a look at reducing brick and mortar, and just seeing how they can get their products and their services out on a one-to-many scale even. There's lots of different things that we can be looking at. But when we talk to businesses about business growth, these are some of the things that we talk about. So, you know, client retention. So at the moment, you might not be able to sell to your clients, but you can still find ways to add value to them at the moment and retain them. And what we've found is, like, you know, just contacting them, letting them know that you're still open or that you still care about them, reminding them of what you can do for them. It might be giving them free how-to videos online, or guides, or something along those lines. It might be a whole number of things that you can be looking at, is how can you just make sure that your clients don't forget you over the next 3 weeks or over this time, and how can you make sure that they're going to continue to buy from you when we get outside of COVID-19. So that's something that's definitely important. Lead generation. So I think a lot of businesses over this time have probably stopped marketing, which is your choice. But what I've heard is that your ads, online ads and all that sort of stuff are cheaper at the moment, and our customers are all online because at 1 o'clock we watch the updates, the live updates for what we're doing with COVID and the government updates. We're all connecting with our friends and family online now, so we're probably spending more time in front of our computers at the moment, just taking in information. And I know that I've been doing a lot of educating and reading and finding out what's happening and how this might help our business clients at the moment. So this is definitely still a time where you can be going out and getting leads. And some of our clients are selling vouchers for their services already online for when they come outside of COVID. Or if you're making a product that you might be able to, that takes a bit of lead time to create, you can still do that and create it and then send it once we get out of lockdown. Or for service providers like us, people can, access us still online. We're doing lots of Zoom calls and coaching sessions online now. So there's definitely still ways to be generating leads at this time. Your conversion rates potentially are going to be a little damaged at the moment. You might be giving some value for free at the moment, but those conversion rates will definitely come later. People will remember you and everything that you've done and the value that you've given to them. So, if you can offer different types of things at this moment, if you can provide a service at the moment, then, still just having a look at how you can convert faster. Because the longer the lead time, then the more cost it is to you as a business. So you want to make sure that you're reducing that conversion rate. And also, if you've got like 10 leads, you want to be converting as many of those as possible. So, making sure you've got some really good sales copy, or if your team are not so good at closing deals, maybe this is the time to start training them up on sales and showing them how we can add value to customers. So maybe you can't sell just at the moment, but you can be training your team up to be able to sell when you do come out of this lockdown. Transactional value. So how can you get your customers to buy more from you? If you've already got people that love you, what else can you sell? And it's a little bit like the do you want fries with that? Which, some people don't really like, but it doesn't have to be a pushy deal. It doesn't have to be a pushy sell if you're adding value to your clients. And that's how we see it, is just add value. If you're adding value, people will buy value. So, are there any things that you can sell along with another item that might be able to make that product more efficient, or add more value to it, or add more value to the customer? So thinking about those sorts of things. And then another thing to be thinking of is how can people buy from you more frequently? And this is one of the things that we talked about before going into lockdown, around some of the questions that our clients have been asking for, that we coach, was how can we take like a model and make it into subscription based? So maybe you can make your business model subscription based so that people are paying you every week or every month, as opposed to maybe once a year or just when they want a product. And there's a company that does that with men's razors.
Yes, the $1 company, I think it was called, over in America.
Yeah, so
frequent. I forgot what it was called. $1 shavers, I think it was called. Yeah, and they just paid $1 subscription, and they just get shavers sent to them, and it blew up in the States. So, and there you go, a product that it's a product that people just buy off the shelf, but to save the hassle, you have a subscription model where they just send you your shavers every month or so, and all you're paying is $1. I think that's what it was called. But yeah, they turned an everyday product that people just buy supermarket into a subscription service. So is that something that you could do with your business? How can you pivot it in a way that you're getting cash flow, not on a one-off transaction, but constant cash flow throughout the year?
I mean, imagine what that is for your business. I don't know how many you can buy razors at the supermarket, which is all good and dandy at the moment, but for ones that maybe you can't buy at the moment, can you do a subscription-based model where people are paying you and you just send out something to them once a month or once every quarter or something like that? That way, at least money is coming into your account regularly, instead of this time of period when you, particularly in retail, if you're selling something and you get the cash straight away, if you can't sell something, you can't make something. So it's just something to think about at this time. We already touched on before the reducing your cost of sales. So how can you increase your product margins? Do you need to get rid of products that aren't giving you the margins that you need? And also to be really good to understand your business financials and what your operating expenses are. So what they are is your rent, your power, your phone, all of those costs that you have as a business. So how much does that all equal? And then looking at what the percentages are for you so that you know what your margins for your business need to be, so that you can make sure that the margins that you're making, so that's the profit that you're making on your whatever it is that you're selling, is going to be enough to cover your expenses for your business, which includes your wages, which includes your operating expenses.
Yeah, the costs that even if you don't sell anything, they're still there. So those are the fixed costs for your business.
Yeah. And then reducing your overheads. So one of the things that we've found with COVID-19 is that some people are getting out of brick and mortar. So, they're no longer going to stick with their leases. They've decided that they're going to be more mobile or more online, looking at how they might be able to get their products or services out into the market different ways. So, now that we're working from home, it's probably been a really good opportunity to see where you can trim some fat inside of your business, things that you don't necessarily need that might be able to help save you some cash, which ultimately is going to come back to you as a business owner, like we've been talking about in the Business 101 cycle. That money comes back to you as a business owner that you can either use to pay, your family stuff, or that you'll spend in your communities, or that you'll reinvest back into your business. So, yeah, these are some of the things that we talk about when we talk about growth and how you can grow your business and bring cash into your business. I don't actually see any questions. So if you guys have got any questions, then please do feel free to ask them in the comment box, and we'll come back and definitely will answer them for you. So,
I guess one of the things that we can do, these are some of the things that we can do to help you through this period. So we offer, especially during the COVID-19 period, we do a budget cash flow and a business continuity planning program. It's a one-on-one session. Basically, what we're doing is trying to help you with your cash flow, get you an understanding of where your cash is and where your business is at this particular time, but also looking at what your business is going to look like in the next 3, 6, 12 months as well. So, which is going to be really key. It is slow now, but what does the whole business look like next wee while, especially when we come out of the COVID situation? We are an approved RBP provider. So RBP is the Regional Business Partners Network, and this is across New Zealand, across Aotearoa. We're able to offer this program. We're also an approved BLP, so this is Business Link Pacific, provider in the Pacific Islands. So we can offer these programs both in Aotearoa and across the Pacific Islands. And we want you guys to be able to access that. So we've reduced our fees by 50%. This particular program that we do have is can be fully funded by the RBP network, so up to $2,000. But there obviously are terms and conditions on that. So if you are really keen to go through this program, get in touch with us, and we'll be able to sit down with you, see if you meet the requirements, and then get you in touch with the RBP network and see if we can apply that funding for you. I think the only cost for you is $250. Yeah.
So what is really good about the budget cash flow is that we can have a look at different scenarios. So a lot of people, probably including you, probably the whole of New Zealand, are not really 100% sure what business is going to look like when we get out of lockdown. And so what we've been able to do with the budget cash flow is look at things like, what if you don't get any more money in for the next 3 months? What if you don't get money in for a bit longer? What if you get some of the money in? And, if you are a subscription-based business or you are an essential service, having a look at what if some of your clients can no longer pay you? So, what we've been able to do is look at the different scenarios and work out what your situation is going to look like. And the good thing about that is that then you can start to plan and you can start to put things into place now so that if these things happen, you're prepared and you're not going into it looking blind. And this is one of the things that we've been telling our business owners right from the beginning is this is not a time to put your head in the sand. This is not a time to hide and hope that everything is going to be well in the world when we get out of lockdown, because it's not going to be the same as when we went in. So that's one of the really good things about the budget cash flow. And we've had some, like I said before, we've had some really good feedback and people who are looking at this every day now. How much money has come into their accounts, how much money has gone out, what does that look like for the bank balance, how much cash am I going to have over the next 6 months, how much cash do I have now, and how long is that going to last for? So it just gives you a bit of certainty. And then that business continuity planning is like, okay, so if this does happen, what does this look like, and what are our contingency plans, and who's going to be who's in charge of looking after each of the different parts. So, and yeah, like Ali said, we are an approved provider through the RBP network, up to 2,000, and the BLP one is up to 5,000 in the Pacific Islands. So, we want to help as many people as possible. Yeah. So we've been able to find people or providers that are able to either pay for the whole of our service or the majority of our service, which means that, we know at this time our small businesses are really going to be struggling with cash. And so we don't want you to be disadvantaged if you really need the service. We want you to be able to access it, which is why we've reduced our fees. So normally under our normal fee structure, you'd still have to pay us a bit of money, but we've reduced it back to meet within the guidelines of the two providers, the RBP and the BLP, so that you can have access to it and still get the help that you need. And yeah, you also get to talk to Ali and I, so if you are interested or someone that's interested, you can either tag them into this video, or you can reach out to us through through Facebook, through the Messenger, and we can definitely help. So what benefit is there to improve cash flow for SMEs and the recent government support for businesses? So just one question we've got, what benefit is there to improve cash flow for SMEs and the recent government support for businesses? So if you have taken up the wage subsidy with the government package, one of the things that it says that you need to do is you need to show that you have reduced by 30%. So a budget cash flow will be able to show that. So if you get audited or anything like that, then that's part of your proof. So they do have that you have to talk to your accountant, but also talking to an RBP and having a business continuity plan and a budget cash flow is one of the things that they also say that you should be doing as part of accepting the wages subsidy. But also because the wages subsidy goes for 12 weeks, we don't know how long we're going to be in lockdown for, and we don't know how long it's going to take for businesses to get back to, I don't want to say normal trading, because I don't know that there's going to be normal trading for a little while. I can't really predict that, but it will just give you a bit more certainty and understanding of where you're at and how long you can last for. And one of the things that we highly suggest too is doing a personal budget. So okay, I'll talk to that soon. So the personal budget is definitely important as well. You need to know how much money you personally need so that you can work out how much money your business needs to give to you so that you can survive. So those are all things that we suggest that you do. So the recent government one that came out yesterday to do with the taxes.
I can talk to that one. So those new events that the government brought out, I think it was yesterday. It's a lot of it was to do with around government support. So I know that one of the things was they were pouring $25 million into the Business Advisors Network, so business be able to tap into that. So the RBP is one of those networks. So I would say there'll be a lot of money going into there, and as a provider, we'll be able to access that for our clients. The tax one is a bit more technical. That's still to be put into law, and we haven't got quite the full information from it. But from what we've been given since yesterday, it basically means that we'll be able to utilize losses going forward. So once we get some more details around that, we'll be able to post it onto our page here. It is a more technical aspect around that, but there hasn't been any other information that's come back from that. I think there was also something around the IRD getting a bit more powers around extension of time for some of the tax payments in there. So as soon as we get some more information and clarity from the government around that, then we can definitely post it up for you, Sabrina, and for all our businesses. But yeah, the major one was around the tax losses being being applied in the future. So that's the main gist of it. But we'll be able to talk more about that once we get clarification from the government.
Isn't that about you have to have made a profit over the last year, and then if you've made a loss over the current year that we're in, is that kind of what it's about?
So usually what happens in normal accounting is that you have, if one year, last year you made a loss, you can carry those losses forward to the new year. But what they're suggesting, from what we've seen, is that you can forecast a profit for this year and then apply it for the previous year. So they're going backwards. So that's what the whole gist of that is. So
this is why it's good to have a good accountant, because they'll understand how to do all this. So one of the things that we've said to our clients is don't worry about it. If it suits you and it works for you, we will tell you and we will apply it for you.
Yeah. So there's some of the stuff they released, your accountants will definitely be able to help you with that. Like we're getting information from government. At the moment, it is not law yet, but it is being pushed through. So as soon as we get clarification from government what exactly that entails, we'll go to our tax experts and get them to deliver to us, and then we will try to put it in more layman's terms instead of technical terms, which most people can understand.
Yeah. Or you'll do what I do and fall asleep. So yeah, I think we've answered the questions that have come up so far, but if anyone else has got any more questions, we're more than happy to answer them. Hopefully that's given you a few ideas around how you might generate some cash flow into your business, or once you get out of lockdown, how you might be able to do things a little bit differently, or look at things differently, or at least have more profitable models of your business. Your cash is so important. If you don't have cash, they say cash flow is king. So if you don't have cash in your business, then you're not going to survive for very long.
Yeah.
And we think it's really important that our small to medium-sized businesses are successful, and as many of them get through this as possible. Particularly our Māori and Pacifica businesses, given that we're Māori and Pacifica and our staff are Māori and Pacifica. And so we know that also it has a roll-on effect to our communities, to our families, and so it is really important to us. So I mean, this is live and it'll stay on our page, so if you do know of anybody that you think that this would be beneficial for, please do tag them in it. Hopefully we'll be able to help. So are we aware of whether PBT are looking to provide additional support for Pacific businesses? Sorry, Sabrina, we are not able to answer that question. Probably a question that you'll need to ask PBT about. But, you know, we can do what we can do, and we're really passionate about helping our Pacifica businesses. As you'll see, we've been able to access funding from both inside of New Zealand and inside the Pacific. So, you know, if that is of benefit to you, then that's awesome, and we'd absolutely love to help. And we've also, I mean, that's why we're doing free webinars, free Facebook Live sessions, sharing as much information as we can. We've also got a We community Facebook group, so if you are a client of We, then do make sure that you jump into our Facebook group, because we're sharing as much information as we can into there. So at the moment, we're kind of doing what we can do to help out. I'm not really 100% sure about PBT and what their plans are for the future around that support, but definitely reach out to them. I'm sure they'll be able to answer that for you. Cool. So look, we just wanted to say thank you so much for joining us today, for being part of this. Continue to ask questions. So if you are watching this as a replay, maybe if you can just put like #replay, so that we know that you're watching it as a replay, so that we can go through and answer any of your questions. We'll just type them into the text box. And again, if you know of anybody that this might be useful for them, please do tag them in the comments box or share it with them. Hopefully there's been some really good tips in here that have been able to help. We just want to say thank you, because this is really part of We Accounting's purpose, is, you know, to help our small to medium-sized businesses and help our communities, particularly in Aotearoa and across the Pacific. So we really thank you for being part of that. Yeah,
no, like Wyndi said, you know, we're really thankful to be able to do this, put this out to our business community out there, and to all our people that are, you know, who are struggling. Hopefully those tips helped. Like when he said, get onto our page, and you know, there's a lot of stuff that's going on. And thank you very much for today, and look forward to seeing you guys again in the future.
Yeah, stay safe in your bubbles. Don't
looking forward to the takeaways next week, hopefully.
I'm looking forward to not having to cook. Cool. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Mā te wā.